Okay, I've started recording. I'm not sure what we did last time. I think actually last week we canceled the lesson because I had an important exam to take. But today we'll continue with something that's quite practical. There are three more videos, no, four videos that I need to upload on the channel. There's the emotional appeal one, which I have tried to upload like 5 times, but it's almost 2 gigabytes big, large, and it takes a really long time to do. There's the artsy fartsy one where I teach you how to use lyrics from songs. You will be able to watch that this weekend because after the lesson I'll upload it. And there were two more, but I've forgotten what they were. I have to check. As I said, today we're doing something really practical. I need everyone to be ready for the competition, to know what to expect. There are some people who have taken who have participated in the competition previously, and they are well aware of what to expect. However, there are some newcomers, and ultimately, there are people who make mistakes, who can't um, um, uh, who don't know the differences between Olympia and the World Scholars Cup. Both competitions are great. One of them is quite easier. The other one is slightly more difficult. In my opinion, we're doing the more difficult one now. Um, so it's a really good thing that we had the Olympia local round, and we did the global round actually, where Jana, Stephanie, Dea, and Adea from our school participated, and they did an amazing job. On Monday, they'll receive the medals and the certificates because everyone has had enough practice for the Scholars Cup. What you can see over here is the preview schedule. It's not the final one because that remains to be announced. Hopefully, we'll have it at the beginning of the next week, and you'll be able to plan things out. Let me just turn off my internet on the phone. People have been trying to reach me all day long. Right. So as you can see, the competition is going to be divided in two divisions, junior division and senior division. The junior division is going to compete on the 14th, the senior division competes on the 15th, and then both divisions will have to compete on the 16th. This is what the program usually looks like. You should come with your team, no matter whether you're in a three-person team or a two-person team. You come at school at 10 a.m. and you do the check-in. Now, the reason why personally why I'm so excited is because we've been stuck at home for a year and a half. We haven't had the opportunity to meet a lot of people, and this will be the first such event. Um, the initial plan was to let 500 people participate. However, we have to follow the COVID safety protocols, which means that there will be around 200 people and they will be subdivided. Which means that the whole event will be safe, but it will be a nice opportunity for you to catch up with your friends and to make new friends because there will be people from other schools as well. So when you come, the first 2 days are going to take place in our premises. So we are the hosts. It will take place in our classrooms. You will come at 10 o'clock and you need to do the check-in. I will already have registered you, so they will have prepared all the name tags, all the materials that you may need. I think that the previous competition they gave notebooks for you to take notes there. There will be 1 hour gap for you to do that in some peace and quiet, so there's no rush. And at 11 o'clock, there will be the opening ceremony. I don't know if you've passed by the school recently, but they've started building like a platform. The opening ceremony will take place in our yard. And The organizers, the founders of the competition, are going to fly to Skopje and they will greet you and they will tell you what to expect. I think that Robert and Daniel are coming. Uh, Daniel is actually the founder, he's the main person in the whole organization. So when that happens, you will be given schedules and you will be told where to go. Because for the juniors, at 12:45, you'll start with the team debate. Then it's going to last for about 3 hours. And after I show you the schedule, I will go through every individual team event to give you more details. So after the team debate, there will be a meal. It's lunchtime. Then it's the collaborative writing, followed by the scholars challenge, and then at about 8 o'clock you'll be able to go home. As you can see, you come at 10 o'clock and you leave at about 8 o'clock, which means that I want you to have a good night's sleep before coming the following day. On the right over here, you can see what the schedule for the seniors will look like. Um, the team events have been slightly swapped, so you don't overlap with the other division. In a nutshell, the first day, both the junior and the senior division will do only three events: debating, collaborative writing, and the Scholars Challenge, which is an individual multiple choice quiz. On the 16th, you are not going to compete in our school because we're going to go to a very fancy place. It's the Macedonian Philharmonic. Let me write it in Macedonian over here so you can see what it looks like. It's a wonderful venue. I was there when we booked it. This is what it looks like. So you will spend the whole second day over here on the 16th of June. Um, this is what the schedule looks like. You will arrive at 9 o'clock. Please put down your hands because I will I will let you ask questions after my presentation. So you come at 9 o'clock and you have half an hour to just make yourself comfortable with your team to find a nice spot in the theater. And then at 9:30 starts the Scholars Bowl. The Scholars Bowl is one of the most interesting activities that are a part of the competition, and it will last for 3 hours. At 12:45, there will be a 1 hour break for lunch. And then at 1:45, we'll have the debate showcase. The debate showcase is a debate between eight people, four people in the affirmative team and four people in the negative team. And only the best debaters are able to participate because the previous 2 days, teachers, judges will be able to nominate exceptional speakers. So if you do really well, for example, I don't know, Frosina is first on my screen. If she does really well, I'll say, yes, I nominate Frosina to be part of the debate showcase. And that means that she'll have to work with people who weren't her teammates before, and she'll have to debate in front of the whole audience. So there will be 200 people, and only the best debaters will have that opportunity. That will last for about 2 hours, and at 3:30 starts the scholars show. It resembles a talent show. If you are passionate about something, if you have an interesting talent, if you play a music instrument, if you sing, or if you do something really unimpressive, anything goes really. I remember that at one global round, when we were in The Hague, there was an event where people were just moving their eyebrows. It was quirky. People liked it. Then there is a break, and then at 5:30 the closing ceremony starts. You will be given the certificates and the medals for each separate team event, and they will also decide who the best overall scholar was. The reason why I'm hyping Amaya so much is because her sister, 2 years ago, Sarah, was the overall scholar in her division. Very high expectations. Um, right, let me explain what the team events are. Um, I don't want you to get confused
Teacher,
with
one
what happened.
question.
Just a second, Marco. I don't want you
Okay.
to get confused with what happened at Olympia because they follow a different format. So remember these rules, and if you forget, if you're not taking notes now, you can just rewatch the video on YouTube later. Every team will debate up to 3 times on 3 different motions, and everyone will be given a specific schedule where to go. And what's interesting is that the first time when you enter a classroom, there will be two desks, and you will sit on one side, the other team will sit on the other one, and the judge will tell you what the motion is, and they'll tell you if you are the affirmative or the negative team. You are not allowed to change that position. You can't go like, oh no, I want to be the negative team. No, you stick with what you're given, because in debating you should always insist on finding all the subtleties, all the niceties to the motion, and you need to be able to look at things from different perspectives. uh, when they tell you the motion, you will have up to 15 minutes to research your argument with full access to the internet. So please bring your phones and make sure that you have 4G on. There will be internet in the school, but I'm not sure if it will be stable enough. So please bring your phones. One other thing, pro tip, I'm giving you a goal here. One thing that you can also bring is your notebooks. And in the notebooks, by now you should have already started taking notes from the videos and from the lessons that we've been having. You can bring that, and it will make things much easier for you. uh, after those 15 minutes, you know that each speaker will have time to present their argument. Each speaker gets up to 4 minutes to speak and present their argument. And between speakers, there will definitely be 1 minute to prepare with the rest of the team. Um, I think that we've spent enough time talking about debating. You know the template. You know the roles. Every teammate should have a different role because they're focused on different sides of the argument. For example, the first speaker always does the team split and sets up the debate. That's personally my favorite role. The second one usually has the best arguments, the really crucial arguments, and the third one has one argument and they summarize the whole debate. Um, there is one thing that people take for granted. When the debate is over, the judge will give you 1 minute to discuss with your team and prepare feedback for the opponents. Do not take that for granted, because it is assessed as well. They will give you points for how constructive your feedback was. So let's say that your opponents hadn't organized their debate really well. What you need to do is to say that maybe in the future you did well, but maybe in the future you can pay attention to how you organize the roles and your rebuttals weren't very clear, or something like that. That's the general overview of what the debate is. Now, I would like to continue with the scoring criteria. This will take about 10 minutes, but I want you to focus. This is really important. Marco, I'll let you ask your question now before I move on to this.
Okay, I just don't get it. Like, the juniors are only on the 14th of June. They aren't
14th
on the
and 16th.
15th.
You don't come on the
Yeah.
15th.
So the juniors aren't on the 15th. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Doncho?
Can I ask something too?
Doncho wants to ask something. Doncho?
Teacher, like the whole competition is like 3 days.
The whole competition lasts for 3 days, but the juniors come on the 14th and 16th, while the seniors come on the 15th and 16th.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let me continue with the criteria. There are three things that you will be assessed for. It's the presentation, strategy, and content. And they have been subdivided over here. You have more information, and I'd like to go through it very quickly. The presentation includes speaking and presence. Now, with considering that we've been stuck at home and we've only had online lessons, we haven't been able to work on this. So you have to trust your gut. Um, some of the things that you have to be careful about in terms of speaking is how clearly did the student speak? You're not supposed to mumble. Did he use notes well or read an entire speech off cards? Never do this. While you're preparing your speech, take notes. Don't read. Don't write the whole speech and then just read it. It's not going to work. You will get penalized for that. Did she finish her sentences decisively? You need to be sure about what you're saying. You cannot say, and that's why I think social media is good for society. Don't do that. If you aren't convinced in what you're saying, nobody else will. So you have to say, and that's why we believe that social media is good for society. Did her tone vary? You cannot expect to be an interesting debater if you speak with only one tone. If you speak like this, no matter what you're saying and how good the arguments are, nobody will care and they will penalize you and nobody will like you. So you have to emphasize certain words to make it more interesting, to engage the listeners to listen even more carefully. Accents don't matter. Even internationally, when you go travel, even in the textbooks, you can see that the audio recordings do not use only American or British or Australian accents. There are Russian accents, there are Italian accents, there are Macedonian accents. It's completely fine. No one cares about accents anymore. We are very tolerant of that thing. So don't try to sound British or anything. Just use your own accent. And what the judges will be listening to are good arguments, not fluent English. In terms of the presence, you should look comfortable. Don't do this while debating. There are a lot of people who are anxious and they just do this. And yes, in social media, it looks weird. Don't do it. So just stand there, look confident, and establish eye contact with the judge. That's what you need to do. If you're addressing the opponents for a rebuttal or something, uh, establish an eye contact with them. And you
Before
need,
you continue, I have an important question.
yes, Sarah.
Are we allowed to like have notes on this while we talk?
Yes, you're allowed to have
Okay,
notes. Yes.
thank you.
Please use your notes, but don't write the whole speech. Another thing, you need to treat your opponents and the judge respectfully. I remember that once when I was judging a debate, there was a girl who was very fierce. She was very feisty. She kept just tapping she kept knocking on the desk with her finger, like, "Can you tell me?" It felt like a scene from a Tom Cruise movie or something. Don't do that. A debate is not a street fight. It's a polite conversation. It needs to be on a really high level. So respect the opinion of the opponents and try to prove them otherwise. And you need to seem like you know what you're doing. That's the presentation aspect of the debate. Let me move to the strategy one. This can be seen from an individual and from a group aspect. So in a way, it works on two layers. The first of all, we have the organization. Did the speaker clearly organize her ideas? If you follow my tips on how to do a good speech by writing a topic, argument example, you will always get 7 out of 7 points for that. Always. Did those ideas flow logically? If you use linking words and if you follow the example, the template that I just explained, you will get all the points. Did they support a central argument? And did the speaker make good use of time? You know that at the beginning, when the judge announces the motion, you need to decide which three main arguments you will be dealing with. So if you watch the debate for social media, you must have noticed that I was talking about misuse of information. Teacher Tsvetanko was speaking about dangerous trends. Teacher Senado was talking about addiction, and Teacher Gordana was talking about, oh, I forget what she talked about. Never mind. My point is that every person has a different aspect of the motion. Because if three speakers speak only about the same thing, it's going to be very tedious. And uh, at the 3 minutes 30 seconds mark, the judge will raise a sheet of paper saying 30 seconds left, or they will tap the table, the desk. You should finish your speech somewhere around 3:50. Don't wait for the final seconds. And always add a conclusion. Always end your speech with, "That's why I believe blah, blah, blah." Never just say, "That's my speech." Don't do that. Now, moving on to the rhetoric part, this is where things get really interesting. I would say that the first three parts that I just explained are quite basic, everyone needs to know. But this is where things get interesting. Rhetoric. Did the speaker effectively use the language of persuasion to add impact to his argument or to diminish the other team? If you watched our debate and in the video for a well written debate speech, you will notice that I point to some vocabulary. There were phrases that I used to make myself more persuasive. I said, "We all know," that social media? No, we don't all know, but I want you to feel that way. I want you to feel that the judge is part of my team. So that's why I was trying to be very convincing by saying we all know that people misuse social media. We all know that people online are trolls. So that's what you should do. And you should use very powerful language. In my speech, I was using words like control, belittle, diminish, right? Powerful, emotionally charged words. Then, the really subtle things. Example of good rhetoric include metaphors. There was a metaphor in my speech where I explained the difficulties of social media and cyberbullying as a sea of sorrow. Ooh, artsy fartsy. I've never said that in real life, but in a debate it sounds really nice, and the judge will be impressed. He will be like, "Ooh, nice, do that." Inversions. It's also in that video where I said, not only do they result in this, but they blah blah blah. So I changed the word order to make it a bit more convincing. This is quite advanced, so I don't think that I don't know if everyone will be able to pull it off, but if you can, yeah, this will give you a lot of points. And one of the most important things, the group of three, the rule of three, it's already on the channel. Please watch that video. It's beneficial not just for the debate, but for yourself personally, because you will be more observant of your surroundings. You will understand more about how the world works in certain fields and how people are trying to abuse that rule, which has to do with our subconsciousness. Right. That's the second aspect. The third aspect is the content. It's subdivided into evidence and rebuttal. The evidence is, did the speaker make good use of examples and facts related to the motion? You will always be able to do this if you do your research. So if one person in your team assigns arguments, you will always know what to look for, and you will be able to use your notes, as I said. If you want to get extra points, try to come up with original, creative arguments. Don't stick to generics, everyday ideas, something that your parents or your grandparents would be able to say. Try to make things a bit more interesting. And the last one is, did he provide enough context for you to follow his points? This is the context, is the introduction part. If you watch the video, you notice that before I started with my arguments, I tried to give direction to the debate. I said social media is all around us. I didn't start immediately by saying social media should be banned and blah blah blah. No, I said social media is all around us. It turns out that 3.5 billion people use it, which makes things really serious. So, in order to make the judge feel comfortable about the topic, to make him feel a bit more knowledgeable about the whole thing. That's the evidence. If you want to get more points, use arguments from the videos that we have recorded. Use arguments and examples from the resources which are provided on the website. Uh, I'm not sure, to be honest, I have to be perfectly honest about this. I'm not sure if all the teachers, all the judges will have covered the resources. I don't know if they'll be aware of them, but make it a personal challenge for you to try to use those. Try to come up with a perfect puzzle where you use the debating tips and you use the resources to come up with a perfect speech. Then the last part of the content subsection is the rebuttal or the prebuttal. I don't think I have recorded a video for this, so I will record one in isolation and I'll put it on the channel. A rebuttal is when you disagree with the opponents and you use their arguments to your advantage. There are all sorts of rebuttals that you can use. The most common one and the most frequent one is where people say, "I would like to start with a rebuttal." It's nice, it's on point. However, it's a bit lazy, and I always try to push myself. So I go for fancier options. I go and I usually say. The arguments that the previous speaker made are valid. However, more progressive thinkers will realize that. I use that one because what I'm saying is that yes, You are smart, you have good arguments, but let me show you who the boss is. Let me tell you how we really smart people think about this. And by doing that, I discredit them, I make them look bad, and I make myself look good. The pre-buttals is you defending against what the opponents might say. And it usually is done by using the phrase may. You say, the opponents may try to tell you that social media, blah, blah, blah. That's one of the other things that I used in the speech. So go and watch that video. All in all, the presentation strategy and content are the most important criteria for the debating event. There are others that I will go through very quickly. There is one field for teamwork, which has to do with how well you collaborate with each other. There have been a lot of cases where people just started fighting at the beginning of the debate. You know, like, I'll talk about that. No, I'll talk about that. Never do that. Do things quietly. Even if there are some disagreements, try to settle them quietly, whisper to each other. When I attended the global round in the Hague, I was impressed by the Indian guys. That just blew my mind off. They came with laptops, and the three of them, they just communicated on their laptops. So they were sitting next to each other, but they didn't whisper because they were afraid that the opponents might hear what they had to say. So they were just communicating and writing on the same document. I think that they were using Notion or something. I don't know what kind of platforms there are for that. But it felt really, really professional when they did that. The behavior, of course, you need to work together and you need to be respectful of the opponents. As I said at the beginning of the video, you will also be scored on feedback. Your advice needs to be helpful, and it needs to be respectful. And as I said, if you do a really good job, if you get all sevens across the board, uh, the judge has the possibility of nominating you as an exceptional speaker for the debate showcase. Um, right, and that's about it for the debate. Now we'll continue with the other team events. Does anyone have a question before I move on to that part?
What will the theme for the debates be?
Sorry, what?
What will the theme be?
What's the thing? The theme?
Yeah.
You
No,
will be.
theme. Like,
Can
what
you?
will we discuss about?
Aha, the motion you mean. The motion will be given to you in the classroom. So we don't know what the motions will be.
Teacher, no, I understand what she's asking.
What was the question?
What is the theme?
Theme.
Theme. Yes, theme.
The theme this year is a world reborn. You can find it. You can find it under themes, and all of the motions will have something to do with that. So a world renewed, and that theme has been explored in 6 different subjects: special area, which focuses on mistakes and recoveries; history, or the history of succession; social studies, out with the old; science and technology, to edit a planet; art and music, second chances, second glances; literature and media, reboots, sequels, and reconsiderations. Those are
Teacher,
the subjects. Yes.
also I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, about the test.
Mhm. Are you asking about the
I
scholars
understand that
challenge?
it's like, yes, everybody's for themselves, yes.
Let
What
me
will the test be about? Like, does it
let me
everything, or does it go into detail?
yeah. Let me tell you
Can I
more
ask
about
something
that
about the
in the next
debates?
video. Yes, Yana.
Theoretically, what if are we gonna sorry, when are we gonna know who the people nominated for the last debate are? Like the
On the
ones from
spot.
the
On the
Oh
spot.
god, okay.
You'll be in the theater, and they'll just call out your name, and you have to go on the stage. It's quite stressful, but it's such an amazing event because only the best debaters get that opportunity. It's wonderful. And one thing that I also wanted to share is that after your first debate in the classroom, you will be given a schedule. In the case of a win, you go on to debate against other winners. If you lose the first debate, you will debate against the losers from the first debate from another classroom. So winners debate against winners, losers.
Do we know who wins on the spot? Or is it like Olympia and
Yes,
you have no clue?
yes. The judge has to tell you who wins immediately. What I have come to know is that who wins doesn't matter. It doesn't bring points. It doesn't bring points. You are assessed individually and as a team, of course. But you may lose the debate, but still get all sevens, and you will get a higher place than your opponents at the ceremony.
Teacher, one thing.
But teacher, the debate is judged based on what the whole team says, not only what one person says, right?
Yes, Simona, you are right, but you get assessed both individually and in a team.
Okay.
So your team will get scores and you will get scores. I have to restart the meeting because we're out of time. Rejoin immediately, please.
Okay.